Everyone, I'm Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on, our infamous roundtable convenes. We'll tackle all sorts of topics, so stay tuned for that. Between now and then, some great guests and information coming your way. We'll tell you all about a leadership center over in Greensboro, courtesy of the good folks at Crumley Roberts, and how we're motivating people to be great leaders. You'll find that interesting. Dave Briggs will be here to tell us what's coming up at the High Point Theater. And Kathy Johnson will be here from Alamance Community College to tell you about a special partnership they have with a big university in this area that's going to create big benefits for students. So stay tuned for all that. But first, we turn our attention to a business that's very new, and it's also very, very old. And let's find out how it can be both at the same time. Next to me on my immediate right, Ashley Ellis is Director of Marketing for Old Nick Whiskey Farm and Company. Next to her is Zeb Williams, who is co-owner of Old Nick. Welcome. Good to see you. And Zeb's been here before. We welcome you back, sir.
Thank you.
Zeb, I'm going to start with you. Now, as I said in the introduction, the distillery seems kind of new to people who have just heard about it recently, but it's really not something that was just created overnight. So give me a little rundown.
Well, my fifth great-grandfather actually started the distillery in 1768, obviously for medicinal purposes and personal enjoyment. And news spread of the quality of product he was producing. The distillery was formed, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and then there was a period where, I mean, it was handed down or whatever, if I recall, but then there was a period of history. Was it Prohibition that they had to shut down, or what happened?
That's correct. Prohibition basically put the family under. North Carolina Prohibition enacted before federal Prohibition. The business kind of died with the wayside. My great-grandfather died in 1913, and business went with him, and now we're reviving the brand.
Right, and it's up and running. And tell everybody where you're located. We'll get to that later too, but just give a plug for it.
Well, we're located out in Louisville. We're on Williams Road, where the family's been for almost 300 years. And website's www.oldnickwhiskey.com.
Yeah, we're going to show that toward the end of the program. I'm glad you got a plug in there for it. Speaking of Prohibition, I'm going to hold up something here as an item, and we'll see if we can get a close of it. But it's this is a padlock, right? Now, what significance does this have, Ashley?
Well, during right before Prohibition started, the revenuers came out and put the padlocks on our barrel warehouses, and so this was one of them. We actually found that not too long ago after a big storm we had. Zeb's father was out just looking around and saw that sticking out of the ground, and now we have it with us.
That's pretty historic. That's pretty neat. And people, and you put various things on display out there. So if I come out for a tour, I can see some of these things, right?
That's correct.
You have old documents and things from, I guess, influential people.
Right. We have some letters from presidents such as James K. Polk, James Buchanan.
People that enjoyed the spirits.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, as well as understanding that it's an economic development thing. Now, I have this cane here. I want to unscrew the top of the cane. What am I going to find in here, Ashley, in the top of this?
There is a glass sleeve on the inside of that. Nicholas Glenn, he used this cane. He didn't use it to walk. He actually put his product in there. That way, if he came across anybody that had never tried it before, he could give them a sample straight from his cane.
Drinks it right out of the cane.
That's right.
Didn't I see him at a weight game one night?
Maybe.
Now, that's pretty cool. See here, it's squeaking. That's a neat cane. And of course, we have a sample of the spirits there. Now, but is there a particular display or something where people will see these? Can you take tours? Can you go on tastings? Zeb, I mean, how do we do this?
Yeah, absolutely. We're open Saturday and Sunday, 11 o'clock to 6 p.m. And then typically every other day of the week, we're there working. And if you pop by, we're going to give you the tour as well.
Ashley, of course, very quickly, I want to mention, I know for a fact that Zeb's family has been very active in community activities, but you have a big event coming up. What's that?
We do. November 4th, we're calling it a holiday bazaar. We are benefiting the Ricky Prohl Power Play Foundation.
Wow.
And we have quite a few vendors. I think we've got about over 30 vendors that are coming. We're supporting local. We're wanting to appeal to men and women, so we have lots of things that the men will enjoy as well.
And what are you calling it again?
Holiday Bazaar.
Holiday Bazaar. That was my nickname in college. And that's November what?
November 4th, from 11 to 5.
11 to 5. Looking forward to that. And up on screen, as I promised, the website, oldnickwhiskey.com. For the radio audience again, www.oldnickwhiskey.com. Lots to talk about. I want to find out later, get you back sometime, talk about how the event went, and maybe bring some more artifacts.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Be right back after. Now on Triad Today, we always like to get this lady over here when we can, driving down from Graham at Alamance Community College, and she has so many things going on. We're glad that she could spend a few minutes with her. And right now, let's let you see her. Next to me on my right, Kathy Johnson, Vice President of Instruction for Alamance Community College. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Jim.
And we're going to talk about something new. It's a partnership that you guys at Alamance Community College have entered into with another institution of higher learning, and I think it's kind of cool. I haven't heard of anything exactly like this. Tell me about it.
This is a brand new program, and it's a new model for North Carolina. It is a co-admissions program with UNCG that allows students to come to Alamance Community College while being also part of UNCG and take courses the first 2 years at our college and then directly transition to UNCG as a junior.
After the 2 years going directly. Now, I'm going to act a little stupid with this question, which for me is very easy to do. But my question here is, haven't you and I talked before about some really great transfer programs when you can always transfer? So how is this different from just transferring?
The state has established transfer programs with all of the 17 universities. But this is a particular program for students who are interested in UNCG. They apply through UNCG. They are given student IDs that say they are UNCG students.
Oh, I got you.
They're entitled to use facilities there, the library, the Kaplan Wellness Center.
While still going to Alamance Community College.
While still going to Alamance Community College. And most importantly, they have a UNCG advisor on our campus working directly with those students.
So once you're accepted, I mean, you're in, you're guaranteed. Unlike just saying, hey, I'd like to transfer somewhere.
That's right.
You've got to get in the program here. Once you're in, you're in. And which leads me to wondering, is there a certain grade point average or a certain thing you need to accomplish for UNCG to say, yeah, we're going to do this?
To remain active in the program, you need to be a full-time student, and you have to graduate with an Associate in Arts or Associate in Science, and you do have to have a 2.0 when you graduate.
And you said that I could be first year at Alamance Community College doing something as a course of study and be able to go over to UNCG, use the gym, some of the other facilities, which I think is just great. But now give me, we didn't rehearse this, I'll put you on the spot. Give me an example of a particular course of study, just one example of what I might be taking at Alamance Community College and also doing something at UNCG.
In the program of education, and we're still working on this part, there are 2 education courses required for students to enter into the School of Education that need to be taken their sophomore year. So as part of this program, we're working on the option for students to be able to take those 2 courses at UNCG while finishing their work at Alamance Community College. Financial aid will be available at both institutions. We're working together to make sure that students would have that.
Well, now since the program's new, I know you can't give me feedback like you would normally do on something that's been up and running for a while, but just look in your crystal ball and tell me, how is this program, this I think they call it Spartan Passage.
Correct.
How is that going to not just benefit students, but help them succeed, be more successful once they graduate? What do you think?
Well, I believe that the idea of the seamless transition and having an intentional advisor from UNCG who can help them choose exactly the right courses to lead to whatever program they want to study will help them make it a very smooth transition. They will save $9,000 to $10,000 by taking the first 2 years at Alamance Community College.
Wait a minute, my ears are running slow. Tell me again how much you might save from doing this?
Just tuition and fees, $9,000 to $10,000 over 2 years.
Just from being involved in this program.
Correct.
So it's going to benefit their pocketbook. And then once they get out and they've graduated in whatever field they choose, they're going to be a little bit better prepared too, right?
That's exactly right. And part of this program also includes something called an accelerated master's degree program, where if they have a 3.5 GPA, they can go directly into a master's program. And in 5 years, they're completed 2 years at ACC,
wow.
3 years at UNCG, and they have a master's.
How about that? And you can sign up for, if you're interested in the spring semester, can you sign up now for that or register?
We will actually be taking our first students formally starting this spring. That's
all
correct.
right. Up on screen, I'm going to give you something. The general website is alamancecc.edu, and for our radio listening audience, I'll say it again, www.alamancecc.edu. But also, there's a brand new website, and I think it's up and running, admissions.uncg.edu/ACC for Alamance Community College. Try that one. That can get you some exact information on Spartan Passage, and if not, go to the other one, and if not, just go to Kathy's house and knock on the door. No, don't do that. Hey, thanks. I know you got to run, and thanks for doing this. I'm excited about it, and I want some feedback later.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it.
All right,
Good
dear.
to be here.
Okay. We'll be right back. Now on Triad Today, and I like to think that everybody we have as a guest on this program are leaders in their own right, and certainly that applies to these two gentlemen in many, many ways. Let's meet them right now. On my right, a returning guest. We're always glad to have him here. Hank Heidenreich is Executive Director of Education Advancement and Leadership Center at Crumley Roberts, based in Greensboro. Next to him, a special guest on the program, Angel Guerrero is a motivational speaker. We're going to tell you more about him in just a second, but welcome to both of you gentlemen.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank
Good
you
to
so
be
much.
here.
Hank, I'm going to start with you, just in case some folks missed one of the shows you and I did many, many months ago, or they've just moved into the area. Remind our viewers about the history and purpose of the Leadership Center.
Crumley Roberts Center for Education Advancement and Leadership was started a couple years ago. It was a dream of Kimberly and Chris Roberts to give back to the Triad community and other communities we serve in North Carolina in some way for all that we have benefited from the citizens.
And so if people come to you, how do people come to you? What do they get from you in these sessions?
Well, we have gone out both to the nonprofit community in the Triad and also to the middle school, the Guilford County school system, and talked to them about how we could benefit at the in the nonprofit sector, they're emerging leaders, and in the school system, middle school students who show signs of being potential
leaders too. And I didn't know you did it that early. I think that's cool that you're doing that with middle school, because I know you've been dealing with some executive types at nonprofit organizations and helping them with everything from time management to just being better leaders, and I think what you're doing is great. Angel, you did some speaking not too many days ago, some motivational speaking, and on your website, which we'll get to later, you're sort of known as the get rid of the stinking thinking guy.
That's right.
What does that mean?
There's a lot of people today that are working in corporations, in universities, or they're part of course, nonprofits, and their attitude is just hurting because of the world and all the things that are going wrong right now. And it's stinking thinking, and it hinders our productivity. So my role when I get to talk to these folks in these different forums is to teach them the blessings that they have in life, that life is too good to actually start getting that stinking thinking.
But we get caught up so much in our day-to-day lives and the stress, it's hard to get past that, isn't it?
Sometimes it could be hard, sometimes it's not as difficult as one thinks. Almost like literally climbing up a slide, and you get to the very top, and then you're all excited because you're like, wow, it really is high up here. All I have to do is just take that one step and have faith that gravity will take over.
Right.
And it's the same way with both thinking stinking as well as also thinking blessings.
Hank, what kind of feedback have you received? And I guess I could ask this of either of you, but let me start with Hank. What kind of feedback have you received over the last couple of years of people who have come in as already leaders, but really honing their leadership skills? What are you hearing from them?
Well, it's interesting that you asked a question. I just spoke with the parent, a mother of one of our students in the Rising Stars program, and she told me how grateful she was. Her daughter had finished the year with the best end of grade score she's ever had, and her report card was excellent. And the child attributed that to what she had experienced in our Rising Stars program.
I think it's great, and at the core of this too, in a sense, not to oversimplify it, but it's all about being motivated the right way, and that's where Angel comes in. And before time runs out on us, I do want to Hank, find out, how can someone, if we put the website up, will that help them get to information about the Leadership Center?
If they will go to crumleyroberts.com, there's plenty of information in there about all of our outreach programs, including the leadership.
And Angel, your website is what?
It's angelfguerrero.com.
And why, I want to take a few extra seconds, Brian. Angel, why is this leadership training so important?
Leaders need to know that they already carry a huge burden, but they need to know that they can get motivated by programs like this, teach skills that actually are applicable, and if they pass those skills on to all of their employees, all of the folks that they're undertaking, they're going to grow. they're going to grow. They're going to expand. They're going to be the best organization they could possibly be.
Well, I applaud what you guys do. Hank's my hero, you know.
He's mine too.
Yeah, he is.
You're short of heroes.
No, I mean it. Thanks, guys. Seriously, I want to thank you for what you're doing, and it makes a big difference in the community. All right, we got the websites. We know all about that. Check it out. We'll be right back after this. Today is just about the Halloween season. I mean, it's kind of a long season when you want to celebrate it. And I have a man with me who celebrates it big time and makes a big impact on the economy around Greensboro by doing so, helps a lot of people, employs a lot of people. And he's a scary dude, too. On my right, Lori Bates, let's see him. Eddie McLaurin is owner of McLaurin Farm and Woods of Terror. He's the owner of Woods of Terror. Welcome again, sir.
All right, thank you for having
People
me.
can see, now for people that just moved into the area, what's the name of your character that you're dressed as?
My name is Bone Daddy.
Bone Daddy, and you created that.
Yep.
And if they go on the website, which we'll give a little later, they will see that one of your trademarks is to have a big boa constrictor, but you did not bring the boa.
I left her at home today.
Left her at home. Because sometimes the studio sort of freaks her out. And plus, I think she ate my foot one time. But anyway, this is, I tell you, I went behind the scenes of Woods of Terror, and this is something people at home never see. You go out, you get scared, you have a good time at Woods of Terror. Back behind the scenes, it was like a military invasion, a Broadway show. I mean, I couldn't believe all the work that went into that. You hire a lot of people.
Yeah, we're pushing about 175 every night we're open.
And plus, you got regular staff. I mean, you've got the people that dress up
Yep.
as monsters, and
We have 100 actors, and it takes about almost another 100 to all the management, parking lot, security, midway, maintenance. It just takes a lot of people to get it right.
now your season, I'm going to call it a season, would start when and end when?
When September, we're open every Friday and every Saturday. And then in October, we're open every Thursday, every Friday, every Saturday, every Sunday.
Okay, as you get closer in. And sometimes you even stay open right after Halloween, right?
Yeah, we'll be open to November. I think it's the 3rd and 4th this year. And that's called our Terror in the Darkness weekend. And we cut out all the lights and you go in through the pitch dark.
Yeah, I feel like that every time I walk into my house. Never know, it can be a surprise. Wait, I know what I was going to ask you. People that go back every year to see it, they love it. But then you also hear people say, hey, I'm going back for 2 reasons. One, because I love it, and the other because I've heard they have such and such as a new attraction. Okay, because every year you sort of add a little something.
Yeah.
What's new this year?
Well, the biggest thing we got is our 3D house has been totally revamped or redesigned. We have a huge calypso scene in the pirate section, and we got some other added things that in the fun house that'll be a shock to them, a secret I can't tell them.
All right. Well, yeah. Okay. Let me ask you something here. Normally people would say, well, Eddie surely wants everybody and anybody to come out there. I think your mom, Lynn, was telling me the other night, oh yeah, we had like 4,000 people here at one time, whatever, big crowds. But this isn't for everybody, is it?
No, we do recommend 13 and unders probably should not come. And it depends, you know, if these kids have seen all these horror movies and they love it, they can come out. But we don't let 5 and under in at all. But we do suggest that it's 13 and up. We don't want to ruin their Halloween and give them a bad time. And this is for adults, and it is scary. So.
Yeah, it is scary. Now, you've received a lot of honors personally and for the Woods over the years, and you do a lot for the community and whatever, but just for the Woods of Terror, I mean, you've been named as one of the best haunts in the country and all this. So I know, take yourself out of it for a second. I know it's hard to brag on yourself, but what makes the Woods so special that you keep getting all these honors?
Well, the one thing is hard work. If you decide to work hard and you want to do something, make it happen, it'll make it happen. You know, I am in my 26 years.
That's right.
So a lot of people think it happened overnight, and it didn't.
And your mom helps out a lot too.
Oh yes, my mom is incredible. She managed my midway, and what I was going to say is the people. The people that I have, from the maintenance staff to the midway staff to my actors, it's all about the people. And these people are very talented, and a lot of times I got to get it out of them.
Yeah.
But I've got a very good staff, and I couldn't do it without the people. You know, I can build the sets and make them look good, but if we don't have the right actors and the right scares, it ain't going to work.
What, before time runs out, I've always wanted to ask you this. What frightened you as a kid? A certain movie, a certain monster?
My father.
Your father frightened you.
No, he was a very disciplinarian, and I was scared of him, but he done right by me. But probably my fondest memories are Poltergeist. And the clown coming out the girl.
Yeah,
and, that was probably my most favorite movie as a youngster.
But it scared you.
Yeah, you know, it was scary. You was like, my goodness, the graves come out of the ground. So I didn't get to watch a lot of horror movies as a kid, but that was probably my most fondest memory. Was
I'll tell you what, well, you're giving a lot of people a lot of great memories now. Up on screen, the website, I'll say it for the radio audience as well, www.woodsofterror.com. If you check that out, there's all sorts of information about parking information, admission, you know, when you can come and what you ought to do and all that good stuff. Eddie, thanks for dropping by. I know you're busy as a bee, but thanks for doing it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm still frightened. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, time for the round table. Let's get right to it. On my right, but always the political left, Ogie Overman, that great award-winning broadcaster journalist. Next to him, a great longtime broadcaster, chairman of the County Commissioners in Forsyth, and many other things, Dave Plyler. Next to him, co-chairman of the County Commissioners in Forsyth, also a great educator, professor at High Point University, and something that, Ogie, you may not know, Dave and Don are also in charge of Donald Trump's Twitter account. I didn't know if you knew that.
I'm gonna have to leave.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't be seen with
So anyway, all right, let's, speaking of politics, here's the first thing. A new report says that unaffiliated voters are now the second largest voting bloc in North Carolina, just behind Democrats, just ahead of Republicans. Guys, does this surprise you, and what could it mean for 2018 and 2020? Ogie?
It's a little bit surprising, honestly. I think it bodes well for the good guys. Bound to.
So you think it'll make a difference in the election?
I think the unaffiliated are going to all swing to the Democrats, or 70% of them.
All right, Dave.
It doesn't surprise me if you look in Washington, D.C., and if you look, as Trump calls it, the swamp, Congress, and then you look in Raleigh at the General Assembly, you got to expect stuff like that. You've got to treat the people the way they should be treated and not what you think they ought to do.
Because they're leaving the political, two major parties in droves. Don?
I'm really not surprised at all, because when I was at High Point, we did an education poll, and actually it was by party, 400 across the state. The last 4 years, independents were the largest group.
Yeah.
The largest,
unaffiliated
were the largest group.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's going to be, we're going to have more moderate. So I don't think it's necessarily Democrats. It could be very moderate Republicans that I think can benefit. It's like a moderate Democrat.
Well, that brings me to the primary elections that we had a few days ago, especially in High Point. Well, we had it in Burlington, Jamestown, High Point, Greensboro, but especially in High Point and Greensboro, all the incumbents made it through to get to the general election. That surprised me a little bit, and not, because I was thinking, well, if there's all these unaffiliated voters, maybe they're going to go a different direction. But what do you think happened, Ogie?
That was not real. So I think the three other finalists of the six are all good. I mean, I like all of them.
You're talking about
I'm okay with all six of them, to tell you the truth.
In Greensboro Council?
The upset, the shocker was District 5, where Tony Wilkins got beat by a total unknown lady.
Yeah.
And that is a very conservative seat. That used to be Trudy Wade's seat in a conservative district. He got beat.
Dave, any thoughts on the primary elections quickly?
I'm on the outside looking in, but my opinion is the General Assembly made a change in the Greensboro City Council, which affected the voters in Greensboro, and they let it be known. They liked the people they've got.
That they had.
And didn't need any change.
John, any thought?
At least in High Point, the stadium actually was a clear winner here.
Yes, I agree. All right, we now sort of know that Russians bought massive amounts of anti-Hillary ads in key swing states last year. Trump barely won those states, so without the ads, he might not have won at all. Here's the question. If a Trump campaign worker is found to have advised the Russians in any way, not money changed hands, just advised them on where to put the ads, should the president be impeached? Ogie?
Well, yeah, clearly he does. I mean, obviously, there's no question about it. It's a no-brainer. But the election really needs to be declared null and void, and there's unfortunately no mechanism in place.
No way to do it.
They're going to narrow it down to where somebody's going to come out and say X number of voters were swayed because of the Russian ads in Wisconsin, Ohio, Florida.
But Dave, devil's advocate though, and not defending Trump or anybody, but you can't force somebody to vote for somebody, right, Dave?
That's exactly right. And from my perspective, what we're talking about now is not what is happening. It is what has happened, and so you let that go and move on, because the future is ahead of us. What happened, we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I think in order to impeach, you're going to have to be able to show that Trump knew about that, and you'd spend 6 months trying to figure out whether he had ever said a word about it. So I don't think the impeachment's an issue, and if their campaign law is violated, the worker should be prosecuted.
All right, let's go to education. Public schools in Memphis say that their program of splitting up classes by gender has been a huge success with better outcomes for both boys and girls. Quickly, guys, is this something we should try in North Carolina public schools, Ogie?
I'm just not in favor of it. I'm sorry. I don't believe in segregating the sexes.
You don't?
I do not.
Dave, they said they've had great success with it.
could be, you have great success in a lot of things, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a great success here. And I frankly think it ain't broken right now, and I don't see any reason to change it.
Don is our resident educator, former superintendent of schools in Winston-Salem, Forsyth, now a professor in college. What's your take on this?
Well, it's pretty prevalent. South Carolina has a number of school districts that are totally and by the way, you cannot make boys and girls be segregated. It has to be a choice program. They have to choose. And we have one here at Kimberly Park Elementary School that actually in grades 3, 4, and 5 has been boys and girls as a choice. It's a small school. They have a mixed class, a boys class, girls class, grades 3, 4, and 5. They've done it for 10 years.
And they're doing okay?
And they're doing fine. In fact, it attracted about 100 kids to Kimberly Park to come as an attraction.
All right, I knew Don would know some stuff about that, boys.
He always does.
All right, finally, since Wrangler recently celebrated their 70th anniversary of their famous jeans, a local bakery started making edible jeans. Guys, would you eat edible jeans, and have you ever eaten any article of clothing? Ogie.
You skipped the good questions to get to this, Jim.
Well, the people at home don't know what we just...
My wife listens to this, Jim. I can't answer that.
Okay.
I mean, come on.
Dave.
Depends on what kind of frosting you put on it.
Well, I think Ogie just said his wife got frosted at him.
I understand.
That's all right, Don.
I've not eaten any clothes, but I actually think that the edible jeans, you might give it a try.
Yeah, you don't know. It could be like those fancy cakes that they make at Dewey's and whatever with,
Exactly.
It's edible. All right. Well, that's all the time we have, and Keith will be back next week as well. Oh, except for this. In order to guard against Russian hacking, NATO soldiers have been ordered to wrap their cell phones in condoms, then jump into a lake. It's an actual story. So far, Russians have failed to hack the condom-wrapped phones, mainly because soldiers complain that after taking all that time to put on protection, they no longer feel like talking. I'm not. There's no phone calls.
Is that true, really?
It's a true story. It's a true story. All right. So for all of us here on, did you like that, Don? For all of us here on Try Today, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next time.